Hey everyone, Sam here, and today we are going to talk about the biggest shock of the 2026 Formula One season so far. It is not a crash, it is not a driver transfer, and it is not a race result. It is a piece of paper from the FIA that has left the entire paddock completely stunned. The FIA has just released its first official engine performance rankings under the new ADUO system, and somehow they have concluded that Red Bull has the most powerful engine in Formula One, while Mercedes, the team that has won every single race this year, is apparently lagging behind. Red Bull is so confused by this that they have officially asked the FIA to review their own data. So today we are going to break down exactly what ADUO is, how the FIA came to this bizarre conclusion, and why some people in the paddock believe the system has already been manipulated. Let's get into it. First, we need to understand what ADUO actually is, because it is one of the most complex and controversial rules the FIA has ever written. ADUO stands for Additional Development and Upgrade Opportunities. It is a brand new system introduced specifically for the 2026 engine regulations. The goal was simple. The FIA wanted to avoid a repeat of 2014, when Mercedes nailed the hybrid regulations and dominated the sport for 7 years straight, while everyone else was frozen out by development restrictions. The ADUO system is designed to be a safety net. It is a catch-up mechanism to stop one manufacturer from running away with the championship. If your engine is deemed to be too far behind the benchmark, the FIA throws you a lifeline. They give you extra development tokens, extra test bench hours, and extra budget cap allowance to help you close the gap. But here is the massive catch, and this is where the entire controversy stems from. ADUO only measures the internal combustion engine. It does not measure the electrical deployment. It does not measure the battery harvesting. It does not measure the MGU-K, and it certainly does not measure the chassis. It is purely a measurement of the V6 engine itself. The FIA uses torque sensors on the input shaft of every car to measure the output, combining engine speed, MGU-K power, and a weighting system to account for power sensitivity across measured laps. But crucially, they have kept the exact mathematical formula a secret. They did not publish the specific metrics in the technical regulations. They did this specifically so teams could not game the system by engineering engines that deliberately scored poorly on the test while still being fast on track. But looking at the results we have just been handed, it seems that might have happened anyway. On the morning of the Monaco Grand Prix, the FIA handed the teams the results of the first ADUO review, based on the first 5 races of the season. The results were divided into 3 categories. Category 1 is the benchmark engine. This manufacturer gets 0 upgrades. According to the FIA, the benchmark engine in Formula One right now is the Ford-branded Red Bull powertrains unit. Category 2 is for engines that are more than 2% behind the benchmark. These manufacturers get 1 upgrade this year, 1 upgrade next year, and an extra $3 million in their budget cap. The only manufacturer in this category is Mercedes. Category 3 is for engines that are more than 4% behind the benchmark. These manufacturers get 2 upgrades this year, 2 upgrades next year, and even more budget cap allowance. Ferrari, Audi, and Honda all fall into this category. When these results came out, the paddock was in absolute disbelief. It felt like a bad joke. Mercedes has won every single race this season. They have been completely untouchable on the straights, dominating in Australia, China, Japan, Miami, and Canada. Meanwhile, Red Bull has been struggling to keep up. Their team boss Laurent Mekies literally went on record earlier this year admitting that their engine was 0.3 of a second slower than Mercedes. And yet, the FIA sensors say Red Bull is the fastest, and Mercedes, the undefeated championship leaders, needs help to catch up. Red Bull was so taken aback by this that they immediately went to the FIA for clarification. They have not filed a formal, legal protest, but they have officially queried the ranking. They want to know exactly how the FIA looked at the data from the first 5 races and concluded that Red Bull is the team to beat. The FIA has agreed to review the data to double-check their findings. They will re-evaluate the power sensor data from the opening rounds, but they have made it clear that the commitment to review does not mean the conclusion will change. They just want to be totally sure their original findings are correct. So how is this possible? How can the team dominating the championship be given upgrades, while a team struggling for pace gets nothing? There are 2 theories. The first theory is that Mercedes' advantage is entirely electrical. Because ADUO only measures the internal combustion engine, it is possible that the Mercedes V6 is actually slightly weaker than the Red Bull V6, but their battery deployment and energy harvesting are so vastly superior that it makes the car much faster overall. If that is true, the ADUO system is working exactly as intended, but it exposes a massive flaw in the regulations. You can have the best overall power unit but still get upgrades because your combustion engine is slightly behind. The second theory is much more controversial, and it is the one that has the paddock buzzing. Some people believe the system has already been gamed. Because the FIA kept the measurement metrics a secret, teams might have been running their engines conservatively during the first 5 races specifically to score poorly on the ADUO test. Think about the strategic brilliance of this. If Mercedes knew they had a massive overall advantage, they could afford to turn their internal combustion engine down slightly. They would still win the races using their superior electrical deployment, their incredibly efficient chassis, and their world-class drivers. But on the FIA's sensors, their V6 would look artificially weak. This would guarantee them an upgrade token later in the year, effectively preventing Ferrari or Red Bull from ever catching up. It is the ultimate sandbagging strategy. Ferrari might have done the exact same thing, but for a different reason. They knew they were behind Mercedes, so they might have run their engines conservatively. Why push hard for a minor gain now when you can secure massive development freedom for the rest of the year? And Red Bull. Red Bull might be the only team that ran their engine at maximum capacity because they desperately needed the pace just to stay competitive in the midfield. By running at maximum capacity, they accidentally set the benchmark, disqualifying themselves from any upgrades. They showed their full hand while everyone else was hiding their cards. If this theory is true, it is a masterclass in Formula One politics. Mercedes and Ferrari played the long game while Red Bull got caught in the crossfire. Lewis Hamilton actually spoke about this to Sky Sports over the Monaco weekend. He said, "Red Bull have the most powerful engine, Mercedes second, and then we are behind. We've got now these tokens to try to develop and close the gap. But that's like an 8 to 10 month project, so it's not something we can just do next week. We'll be pushing as hard as we can to see how we can close it up." Hamilton's comments confirm that Ferrari is already looking ahead to how they can use these 2 upgrade tokens. Rumours suggest Ferrari is already preparing their first engine upgrade for the Austrian Grand Prix, with a second one planned for later in the season. They are confident that the ADUO system will give them the boost they need to challenge Mercedes at the front of the grid. But for Red Bull, this is an absolute disaster. They were relying heavily on the ADUO system to help them catch Mercedes. Now, not only do they get 0 upgrades, but they have to watch Mercedes and Ferrari bring more powerful engines later in the year. If Red Bull cannot find pace in their chassis or their electrical deployment, their season could effectively be over before the summer break. They are stuck with the engine they have, while their rivals are given a free pass to improve. The FIA has promised to review the data, and there will be 2 more ADUO assessments later this year. One after the Hungarian Grand Prix at the end of July, and one after the Mexican Grand Prix at the start of November. These future assessments will impact the 2027 season. But for now, the damage is done. The first major political battle of the 2026 season has been fought, and it looks like Red Bull has lost in spectacular fashion. What do you guys think? Is the ADUO system fundamentally flawed because it only measures the internal combustion engine? Or did Mercedes and Ferrari just outsmart everyone else by playing the long game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read as many as I can, and it is always great to hear what you think about these complex technical battles. If you are new here and you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. We cover all the big stories from the paddock every week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.